What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, here today to talk about the latest VESTRON video release distributed by LIONSGATE, Wraith. This 1986 film starring Charlie Sheen, Nick Cassavetes, Randy Quaid, Cheryl and Finn. Stacked cast in this one. And the funny thing is, before this was announced earlier this year, I had never heard of this film. I'd never heard of this film in my life. And apparently it's a classic 80s film that everybody knew and was excited about. It was finally coming to Blu-ray. So yeah, I'm super excited to break this one down and talk about it with you guys here today. But before I get into it, guys, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? I do all kinds of great physical media-based content on this channel. Hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button, guys. It definitely helps the video out, helps it move up those YouTube algorithms, and also comment down below your thoughts on this movie, your thoughts on VESTRON video bringing this film to the Blu-ray format. Just leave all of those thoughts in that comment section below. And also, if you are considering purchasing this, I do have an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. Definitely hit that if you want to purchase this release based on what I say in this review. So yeah, before I talk about the actual movie, I just want to say I'm super happy that VESTRON Video is back and releasing stuff on a regular basis. They took like a 2-year hiatus from like 2018 to 2020, and I'm glad they're back in the release mode because we have the Wraith, and then we're getting another one. I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head, but we're getting another one in August. But the one that I started collecting with them in 2018, late 2018, was Maximum Overdrive. So when I saw this one, especially with this cover and just remembering this movie from my childhood, it immediately like hooked me into the VESTRON Video line. So I've got a couple of other ones, older releases, but unfortunately they don't have the slipcover. But yeah, I love this slipcover, love this release. It instantly hooked me into the line, and then they stopped making them for like 2 years. And then they came back, fortunately, last year with this David Cronenberg film, Shivers, and then they did Little Monsters. So yeah, that was about, I would say that was like last August that they released these two. And now they're coming out with the Wraith. So I'm just super excited that they're back. I'm happy that they're back because I really, really enjoy this line. I enjoy the care and quality that they put into these releases. So, and this one's definitely no exception. But let's talk about this actual movie. So this movie came out in 1986. It is directed by Mike Marvin, who hasn't really done, he's done some TV, but there's nothing else in his resume I really recognize as anything that's notable. So I would say that this is probably the most notable film of his career. And yeah, I don't know how I didn't know this movie. I don't know how this movie wasn't on my radar. So the movie itself, it's a good, decent movie, I would say. It's definitely not like top tier 80s films. It's fun. It's very cheesy and schlocky though. In nature, it is like part sci-fi, it's part horror, I would say. There's quite a bit of horrific moments in this movie. It's also relationship drama, coming of age. It's a lot of different things in one, as a lot of those movies in the 80s tended to be. And yeah, it has a really cool cast. Charlie Sheen, a very, very young Charlie Sheen, before he really broke out as a star, which is kind of interesting to see. You got Nick Cassavetes, who apparently is a director now. I'd have to look up some of the things he's done. I don't really know anything he's done off the top of my head, but I'm sure you guys will correct me in that comment section, or let me know in the comment section anyway. And then you got Randy Quaid in this film. It's a kind of younger Randy Quaid. So this is before he did Christmas Vacation, some of the other films he would become famous for in his career. And he's serviceable in this movie. Everybody's pretty good in this film. There's a couple that I'll call out as just being really goofy and ridiculous and over the top, and that's Clint Howard is in this movie, but he's kind of that way in every single thing that he's in. He's just very over the top and goofy in nature, and he's even in a special feature on here, which we'll talk about here in a minute, where he talks about that in his career in kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of manner. It's pretty humorous. And then you have Cheryl Lynn Finn, who a lot of people were very excited about this actress being in this movie, and after watching this, I understand why. So there's some other films in her filmography that I definitely need to check out. Yeah, apparently she was in Twin Peaks. So I don't know if she was like a main character in that, but I saw that on her resume among some other films that I kind of recognized, but then some other ones that I hadn't. So she's a very stunning woman, and she looks fantastic in this movie, and she's also a pretty decent actress in this movie as well. Like, this movie, it's not meant to be taken like 100% seriously, but the actors and the way that the dialogue's delivered, it is kind of serious subject matter, just like in terms of her and her relationship to her like psychotic boyfriend in this film, which is all, it seems like a trope at this point, like the girl that's with the guy that doesn't really want to be with the guy because he's kind of an asshole. This guy's like more than an asshole. He's a legitimate psychopath. So like in this case, I would recommend that she like immediately seek the police and say, hey, this guy's stalking me and you need to get him away from me right now. She should have definitely been talking to Randy Quaid in this film. Some of the stuff that he does is just terrifying, and no woman should ever have to put up with that. And then she, meets Charlie Sheen's character, and they kind of got a thing going on. And of course, he doesn't like that. Of course, he's the jealous boyfriend. And yeah, she's got like an ex-boyfriend that died, and he's the one that killed him. And yeah, that's pretty much like what this story is. And I know I'm kind of backtracking, and now I'm getting into the synopsis, but this is basically like a revenge story, but they don't really let you know that it's a revenge story for like the whole movie, because these people are being stalked by this like ghost entity that forms at the very beginning of the movie before you even have any context as to why this thing is forming and coming after this gang of people that's basically like out there. In the very beginning of the film, they steal somebody's car by forcing them to race for pink slips. They're out there, they're killing people. They're just wreaking havoc. They're the classic like 80s thug gang. And of course, it's led by Nick Cassiavet's character, who's Cheryl and Flynn's boyfriend in the movie. And yeah, it's a revenge movie. But yeah, like I said, you don't really know it's a revenge movie until the end. And then it's got like weird, awkward reveals at the end, which I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil anything about this. But Charlie Sheen is inserted into the mix, and yeah, I don't know. It just makes it kind of weird and awkward feeling throughout the film, because you don't really like know what's going on until the end. And yeah, so that's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen The Wraith. But apparently I'm like one of the only people that's never seen this movie. So yeah, this is a fun movie, I would say. It's got some really cool action. It's got some really cool set piece moments, some explosions, some car chase scenes. Like there's this one scene in particular that was really almost kind of funny. But like where the Interceptor that's chasing them down, he like flies into this barn or this little garage that they have at like top speed, and then he runs into these two guys, and then like the whole barn just explodes. And it's just like, there's just a lot of like interesting like wrecks like that happen in the film. So it is basically almost like a slasher movie, because you have this Wraith like vigilante character, but you don't ever see him. You don't know who he is until the very end, of course, where the reveal kind of ties in the plot of the movie. But that's where it just gets a little weird for me, because it feels like they expect you to know that it's a revenge story, but they don't really give you the information to know that until the very end of the movie. So the movie feels a little strange when you're watching it, because you have this character that's killing all these gang members, but you kind of understand and maybe know why, and they explain it a little bit, but it's not really confirmed. So, but yeah, there's some cool action set pieces. The soundtrack is freaking awesome. I love my 80s rock music. And this has Billy Idol, Robert Palmer, Ozzy Osbourne, Motley Crue, and yeah, excellent soundtrack. Love the soundtrack. Love my 80s music. It's also got a pretty cool score to it as well, I would say. So yeah, it's a good movie. It's I don't know how they really got away with the PG-13 rating, because this movie is pretty violent. There's some gory scenes in it here and there. There's some blood, and there's quite a bit of nudity as well. So I don't understand how they got away with that PG-13 rating. Maybe it's because it was like smack dab in the middle of the 80s, and they were still like trying to transition and figure out like what's PG-13 and what's R, and maybe they got away with it because it was only like half a breast instead of like a full set. I have no idea, but there is nudity in this film. There is violence in this film. There's blood and gore, but it's rated PG-13. So just know that going in. It's not really a movie that I would suggest watching with your children or anything like that. But yeah, it has some cool cars in it. Like I said, that Turbo Interceptor is a really cool car. It kind of almost looks like a version of the Batmobile or something. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, getting into the actual packaging of this release. I like the artwork on this. I think some people were complaining about this one in the forum section, but I like the artwork on this. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty striking. And yeah, Vestron Video just does a really good job of their packaging. I love how they number. This is number 20 in their line and of their releases. I need to collect some more of the Vestrons, to be honest. And then you open it up. This does include a digital code, which is pretty cool. Like a lot of the boutique labels don't really include digital codes, but this one does, this particular line, because it is distributed by LIONSGATE. So you kind of get that LIONSGATE code in there. And then you have the disc artwork, which is pretty cool. It's just the same as the cover. But getting into the visuals, guys, I thought the visuals, I mean, it's a Blu-ray, it's 1080p. It looks pretty good to me. There's a lot of really cool colors in this movie. Everything seemed really sharp, and yeah, I really had no issues with the picture quality in it. It is aspect ratio 1:78:1, so you get that nice like letterbox look, and yeah, visuals to me, no problem. I thought they all looked pretty great. The audio is in English, and it's 2.1 DTS HD master audio. Sounded great. Like I said, soundtrack's fantastic. All that stuff is good. So let's get into the special features, because the special features on this are absolutely insane. There's just tons of stuff to dig into. And for like what I would say is a little bit of a smaller release, and just for what this is priced at, $12.96, like the fact that we get these kind of special features in these kind of releases, but we don't like the more expensive studio releases, it's insane. It's just weird to me. But yeah, but these special features are really good. Some of these special features were included back in the 2010 DVD release of this film. And then some of them are brand new to the Vestron Video. So I'll just kind of cover them all, and then I'll tell you all like what's new to this one, and then what's an older one that was on the DVD. So you got some audio commentaries here. You got 3 audio commentaries, actually. So the one with the writer-director Mike Marvin is an older one. And then you get a newer one with actors Dave Cheryl and Jamie Bozanam, which I don't even know which characters they were in the movie, but apparently, I didn't listen to it, but apparently it's a pretty good audio commentary. And then you also get an isolated score selections featuring audio interview, and this is with the co-composer of the soundtrack of the movie. So that's a cool new feature as well. And then you get Tales from the Desert, which is an interview with writer-director Mike Marvin. This one was with the DVD back in the day, but I found this to be probably the best special feature of this release, because the director kind of goes into like the film, how it was like written and made, and how it was kind of a copy of some stuff that came before it, and then how it potentially inspired other films like The Crow. And then he goes into something I didn't know anything about, and that's the fact that somebody actually died making this movie. There was a death, there was a tragedy, an accident. And there's another special feature that covers it a little bit more in depth. But you kind of hear about this tragedy from his perspective, and you can just tell listening to him that he really felt the emotional weight of that, because he knew that he was the guy that was in charge. And then he even talked about how he lost job opportunities from it, and then he stopped directing for like 3 years after it. So it's something that I didn't know, that I found to be pretty interesting. So it was just like a stunt wreck that happened. The car flew off the cliff. I think it was the camera car, the one that was like following the cars and stuff. And yeah, a really sad tragedy that took place. And you even have, I think it's like in memory of either at the end credits or at the beginning, I can't remember. So that was a really good interview. And then you got an interview with Clint Howard that's older. And like I said, that was a really fun interview. Clint Howard's always fun to hear talk. And he just talks about how he prefers gainful employment over like choosing projects with actual prestige and merit. He just wants to stay employed, which you can tell. I think Clint Howard's been in like 150 movies. He does everything. He doesn't care what genre it's in. He does it. Low budget, big budget. Clint Howard is there to do it. So that was a cool one. And then you got Ride of the Future interviews with stunt coordinators, Buddy Joe Hooker, and transportation coordinator Gary Hellerston, which that one, they go more in depth of that tragedy. So I would definitely, whereas the one with the director, you get more just like his personal perspective. With this one, you actually get the details of what happened by people that were actually around the tragedy and the wreck when it happened. This one is new. The Ghost card was his interviews with visual effects producer Peter Coran and effects animator Kevin, I can't pronounce that name, but that's an actual new one right there. That one's a pretty good one as well. I watched most of these interviews, and they're all about about 12, 13 minutes. I think the one with the director is the longest at like 17 minutes. And they're all really good, really fascinating, really engaging interviews that are very informative about the movie as well if you want to learn more about it. And then you get this new featurette, which is the Wraith filming locations then and now, which is basically just a guy that's going around and basically like he's like vlog style filming himself at these locations of the movie. So it's just a fan of the film, I think, and probably somebody that works under VESTRON and LIONSGATE. I'm not really exactly sure, but and then you get some alternate title sequences, still galleries, theatrical trailers, all that stuff that's already been in previous releases before. But yeah, this is loaded with special features, guys. And I imagine if you're buying this one, most people probably don't own that DVD version. So these are probably going to be mostly all new special features, and they're all like redone in HD. So they all look like brand new. They're not like DVD quality special features, because sometimes you get that with some of these releases. So at the end of the day, guys, for the price, this thing's like 13 bucks. You can find it in Walmart. And also, if you don't feel like going to Walmart, I have my Amazon affiliate link down below. It's like 13 bucks on Amazon as well. So for the price and the stuff that you get, and you know, the movie's not like the greatest movie ever made. I had fun with it. It's a cheesy like 80s nostalgia kind of genre classic. So it's a fun movie. I recommend picking this up. It's a solid release, 13 bucks. You can't beat that price. Great special features. So thank you guys for tuning in to this review of the Wraith. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.